Okay, for number one, the final total profit equation, I forgot to simplify. This simplifies to 8x minus 1,000. Okay, number two, I forgot to mention this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. X represents the number of shirts sold, and y represents dollars. So with that being said, this point right here, I already wrote it down. I'm like redoing the video because I messed up. But at this point, 125.0. That means when you sell 125 shirts, you make $0. That'd be the break-even point. So it would, of the original $1,000, you're breaking even to $0. So anything sold after that is profit. With that being said, the green line should not go below the x-axis because profit is only green. It's only like money made after you break even. It's only positive. Let's see. This point right here is 0, negative 1,000. And that represents the cost at 0 shirts sold, and it's impossible to sell negative shirts, so that's why this point never goes this way. And then for this yellow line, revenue cannot be on the left side of the y-axis, and that's because revenue, you cannot sell negative shirts. So right here, it should only go this way because you can only sell shirts, you can't sell negative shirts. Number three, the answer comes out to 125, so that's the x, so it'd be 125, comma 0, and that means that you need to sell 125 shirts to make $0, and that's what we want because we were in the negative before at 124 shirts and anything less than 125. So 0 being the net for when the negatives equal the positives. Let's see. The profit function is related because this is the break-even point, and anything after that is profit in terms of shirts sold. So if I sell 126 shirts, I am making $8, and if I'm selling 127, I'm making $16. So anything after any shirt sold after 125 shirts is profit. Bringing it back to number three, I explained that the y value 0 is important to the break-even point because at 125 t-shirts, there's going to be $0 made, which is obviously good for us because we're finally breaking even. I explained how the profit functions were related to this, but I didn't explain how revenue and cost. So cost is going to be equal to the break-even point because we are no longer in the negative, so the cost will never go down anymore. Because we are making $8 per t-shirt, because 20 minus 12 is $8 per t-shirt. And then revenue, so revenue is money made, so now every revenue, which is every money made, is profit now, because we are past the break-even point, which is at 125.0. For number four, the values of x and 5x minus 1 should have absolute values around them. And basically we are finding the difference between x and 5x minus 1, and that's why absolute value is always positive, so that's why this number is positive and this number is positive. So y, or in this case f of x, is going to equal the difference between x and f of x, or 5x minus 1. And that's why this equation, absolute value of x minus 5x minus 1, is, it has to be positive, because there's absolute values around it. Okay, number five, I graphed absolute value of x minus parentheses 5x minus 1. It's right here. I graphed this with Desmos and then I copied it onto paper, so I could show you that this point right here is 0.250. So at number four, I used examples for x that would prove y to be correct. So all the numbers I showed in number four are along this line right here. So for example, I used -3, 13, and if it's more zoomed out, I can show you -3, 13 is going to be on that absolute value point. Let's see. So the axis would be x, y. This is the temperature 1, and then y is going to equal the temperature difference. All right, number six. So for x, I got -11, and that just means that there's an 11-degree temperature 1, so that the temperature difference could be 45, since y is always equal to the temperature difference. x is equal to the temperature 1, and this should be absolute valued. And so I missed out that another input, I would say, because x could either be equal to 11 or negative 11, since it is absolute valued. I'll show you there. As shown, it is absolute valued, so it could be either positive or negative. 7, I completely forgot to do f minus 2x, must have missed it. So this just means that we're plugging this value in for x in that equation. So if I flip this over, the equation is x minus 5 minus 1. This is absolute valued, so I plug in 2 minus x minus 5, 2 minus x, minus 1. That's all in parentheses, absolute valued. So this value right here, this is going to equal 10 minus x minus 1, 10 minus 5x, because it distributes. 2 minus x minus, so simplify like terms, minus 5x minus x, negative 6x, 2 minus 10, which is negative 8, minus 1, minus 9. That's all going to be absolute valued. It's going to equal 0. And then next what you do is we're going to add 9 to both sides. Negative 6x equals 9. Negative 6, negative 6. X equals, simplifies to negative 3 seconds. But it is absolute valued because it can't be a negative, so it is 3 seconds. Okay, number 8, it's asking us to find the domain, and this is completely wrong because domain is related to the number of sales, because X is the number of sales, of t-shirt sales. So it would instead be 0 is less than or equal to X, which is less than infinity. And basically that means that I can't sell negative t-shirts, so this number cannot be negative 1,000. It can only be 0. So X has to be between 0 sales and infinity sales. This inequality, this would have to be Y, because this is the inequality for range being negative $1,000. Since Y is dollars, I started at negative $1,000 and I can only go up to infinity. Back, you said I kept it as a negative, which I could have, and I should have clarified that, but this could actually be a negative, but as long as this is absolute valued, because the number always has to be positive. And to find a temperature difference, it would have to be subtracting. Just this has to be absolute valued, because the temperature difference, is always positive. The equation starts up here, 20x minus 12x equals $1,000. And these are like terms because they both equal $1,000. And so we're trying to find out how many shirts I need to sell to make $1,000, and that's why this $1,000 is constant. And that's constant until you sell 125 shirts, and then after that it becomes profit. So 126 shirts would be $1,000 and $1,006 of revenue, $6 profit. So we do know that we are making $8 with every shirt we sell. So this 1,000 divided by 8 would actually equal 125. But to keep this constant, we know that we need to sell 125 shirts to make $1,000. So for the sake of keeping it equivalent on both sides, we wouldn't change the $1,000, since we know that every shirt is equal to $8. I said that $1,000 is constant up to 125 t-shirts, and that's false, just because $1,000 is equal to 125 t-shirts and not anything else. So 124 t-shirts would be equal to $192, and so on. So it's only equal at 125 t-shirts, and that's why we're solving for X, because that's the amount of t-shirts that equal $1,000.